If you are trying to catch up on your retirement savings, please, please, please do not make this mistake. My name is Scott Newhouse. Welcome back to Retirement Clarity Radio. Let's just jump right into it. If you've paid attention to investing for any length of time, you've probably heard the phrase, it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. As Albert Einstein once said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So these two quotes speak to the wonderful effects that having your investments compounded for many years and maybe many decades is just going to be an enormous benefit for you. The longer you're invested in the stock market, the easier it's going to be for your investments to grow as they continually grow on top of themselves. So in an ideal world, everyone would start investing in low-cost index funds right when they get out of college, even if it's $25 a month, $30 a month, and they just keep on doing that for 3 to 4 decades. And if you just increase your contributions every time you get a pay increase, that puts you in a great spot when you want to retire at some point in your 60s. That said, not all of us got that memo when we were in our 20s or 30s, so some people get into their 40s and 50s and they realize that they really need to take things into the next gear so that they're ready for retirement. I absolutely love speaking to these people because frankly, the financial advisor industry is mainly or exclusively geared for people who are already wealthy, already in really good shape, and they just want help optimizing things. There's absolutely nothing wrong with optimizing things at all. I'm doing that myself. I do that for a number of clients. But my point is that the people who don't have as much, they need a little bit more help, and they really need to step things up into that next gear, much more so than people who have 500,000, a million, multiple millions of dollars in their investment accounts. And that's just the reality, and unfortunately, there's just not enough advisors who are willing to serve like that population and that community of folks. So when I meet with these people, there's a really big mistake that I see a number of them making. Not all of them, but these folks get to, 5 to 10 to 15 years away from their retirement age goal. And the numbers really just don't make sense yet. And the mistake that they make is they start making extreme and wild investments, in quotes, in the hopes of hitting it big so that they can catch up and get that retirement account balance boosted quite a lot. Now, to be clear, I totally get this line of thinking. It makes all the sense in the world in my mind. And it's especially kind of made worse when honest people like myself, a lot of other good YouTubers out there, financial advisors out there, they say really modest things about your investment returns, saying things like, hey, in a low-cost, well-diversified portfolio, it's reasonable, depending on your asset allocation, that maybe you'll get 5 to 6 to 7 to 8% returns in your investment accounts over the long term. Reasonable, no guarantee. Come on, don't come after me about guarantees. That's not a guarantee. But these folks who are really far away from their retirement goal, they say they hear those return numbers that historically we've been able to get, and they say, man, at that rate I'm never going to be able to retire. And so once they hear that, then the mistake they make is they go searching for these crazy investments that are promising 20% returns, 50% returns, and 100% returns. Now, when you take on quote-unquote investments that give you or promise you some kind of return that high, 20% and above, you're not investing any longer. You're really just gambling. And just like gamblers walk into the casino and they see those bright lights flashing up there with the huge dollar amounts, and they just say to themselves, oh yeah, that's totally going to be me. That's what people do in their quote-unquote investments when they start gambling. I see far too many people in a spot where they're not quite there yet, and they start making these wild gambles in the hopes of trying to catch up. And unfortunately, there's been a number of high-profile gambles that's really been publicized all over the world. The biggest one is the cryptocurrency craze, which led to a lot of, frankly, ignorant investors. And I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm ignorant about a lot of things on my car. It doesn't mean I'm dumb. I'm just ignorant about that one thing. And so if you don't know a lot about something, you might be ignorant. So these folks are ignorant about cryptocurrency. They thought it could only go up. They didn't really understand that it is susceptible to a lot of risk. They just thought, hey, if I put my money in cryptocurrency, my money's going to double every single year, and it's basically easy money to them. Well, it was easy money for a long time until the bottom dropped out, and it is not true any longer. So far in 2022, Bitcoin, the leading cryptocurrency, it's down around 58% so far this year. But there are other high-profile gambles in the stock market, namely the Reddit stocks, which were AMC and GameStop. So basically, Reddit users came together in early 2021, and they wanted to all buy in these stocks, not because they were great investments and great companies, they're not, but they wanted to drive the price higher because some hedge funds had a big short position on those companies. Basically, those hedge funds were betting against GameStop and AMC. And these Reddit users, they basically wanted to stick it to the man, and their hedge funds represented the man. And it worked for a very short while, and those people who got into the ground floor on GameStop and AMC, they did make a lot of, high returns on whatever they put into their portfolio on that. So on the very, very short term, yeah, it absolutely could have worked, just like it worked for Bitcoin on the short term. But over the last year, we're looking at GameStop being down 32%, AMC is down 77%, and Bitcoin is down 53%. So again, maybe if you were in the ground floor and you started many, many years ago and you got in when the prices were way less, and somehow you got lucky, yeah, you might have had great returns. I'm not denying that at all. But that was a gamble, and that's not an investment. And boy, there was an enormous amount of risk. And if you held on, man, your gains would have been greatly diminished. So if you're investing, you can stick through it for the long term. If you're gambling, you got to get in and out really quick. But we're not going to make this a gambling show just yet. So if you're behind in your retirement savings, can you please do not gamble away what you already have for the latest stock craze, the latest crypto craze that's taking over the internet and taking over Super Bowl ads. Because if you don't have much right now and then you just gamble it away, and let's say you drop 50% of what you have, then you're just only putting yourself in a deeper hole, and it's going to be that much harder to get yourself out of it and get you to that retirement finish line. So instead of gambling this money, instead of trying to make up all the contributions that you missed in your 20s and 30s and 40s, instead of just trying to get these ridiculous returns that people are promising you on the internet, why don't we look at some things that we can actually control? Can you see if you can cut any of your expenses? And I bet you can. I know I can cut expenses if I need to. Can you stop eating out less or stop eating out entirely and just, cook from home and have a healthier meal? Can you pick up a part-time job for a couple years? I know it's not an ideal thing, but can you tough it out, get a part-time job, stash that cash away, and then boost your retirement savings that way? Can you find a job that you really enjoy? And even if you have to work a couple extra years, it's not that bad because it's a job you really enjoy. I think those are much more practical and reasonable and honestly in the long-term successful ways for you to be able to bridge this retirement gap. If you're falling a little bit short in terms of those numbers, I am always happy to help anyone who thinks I might be able to assist them, even if we don't end up working together. If you're feeling like there's a gap between what you have right now and what you need in the future, let me know, and then we can talk about some ideas for you to make up that gap. But please don't gamble it away, because just do not make that mistake of gambling your precious money and your investments away just because you're behind right now. All right, hope that's helpful. I'll see you next time.